Trump says he's banning institutional. Rob, do you have that one? He's banning institutional. Let me go to this one. Institutional investors from scooping up single-family homes.
We've been talking about that for a while.
This is big. If they pull this off, this is very good for middle America. For a very long time, buying and owning a home was considered the pinnacle of the American dream. It was reward for hardworking, working hard and doing the right things. But now, because the record high inflation caused by Joe Biden and the Democrats in Congress, the American dream is increasingly out of reach for far too many people, especially younger Americans, Trump wrote on Truth Social. Tom, thoughts on this?
Well, he's calling on Congress to codify it. I mean, let's make a law. Let's do this. I think this is smart. A lot of people say, well, wait a minute. Now he's interfering with this. Real estate's just an asset class. Banks want to buy asset classes. Well, hang on. When you're talking about the power of America, which is its citizens, and you're talking about that we had a situation where, building has been kind of flatlined. I don't think we're going to have more than 4 million transactions for 2026 after 4 million last year, and the housing starts are low. I think this is smart, saying, wait a minute. I don't think it's a good idea that that large banking or private equity simply buy up an asset class like this and rent it back to the American worker when there's a bigger thing here. And the bigger thing is that home equity had been a key part of people's savings, which impacts their retirement. So this is also the federal government stepping in, who needs to be paying for Social Security, which is probably going to get cut, ladies and gentlemen, and stopping this will stop the shortage. Part of the shortage, Pat, will stop. Because when these houses get bought up, there's fewer houses for people to buy. And so the price of those houses that are available to general public is pushed up additionally by all that printing of money.
Rob.
But I think this is a good thing.
You have BlackRock. You're talking $5 trillion. You're talking BlackRock owns most of the pharmaceutical industry, if not most of the Dow Jones. If you're thinking about tech stocks and you think about this BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, that is more powerful. That is a real unelected group that it can force policy, it can affect the economy, and is. I mean, if you take that $5 trillion, the buying potential of that, and what they've done to single-family homes, I would just say to you this. When was the last time you washed your rental car? You don't do it. You don't own it. You don't give a shit about it. But kids, how do we expect these young Americans to care about the American dream if they're not given a piece of it? If they don't have the opportunity to earn a piece of it? So we have to do that. When you have BlackRock that will buy a home in a neighborhood for $300,000 and sell it to themselves for $700,000, they're artificially causing inflation and making the house purchases unbuyable for the average young person. I'm talking 30 and under. And in their 30s, for crying out loud, who are still living with their parents. They also are getting tax credits for buying for this purchase, and they're getting loans for exceedingly, a better deal than young people can. So if we need to have some regulation, and that's why the president, does not traditionally like to get involved with regulations, but in this situation, it has to happen because I believe there's a monopoly going in place. And if you think if the government thought that Ma Bell back at the time and long distance phone companies were becoming a monopoly, certainly, and that was worthy of being broken up. Certainly, the idea of one big company like BlackRock buying up single family homes in the hundreds of thousands is a monopoly, and that needs to be taken care of. And Robert Kennedy and I talked about that a year ago, and thankfully President Trump is doing something great to help the American people.
I agree, and I would tell you this means they are paying attention to the affordability crisis that's taking place, and that's great. So to people that are 18 to 29 years old, 18 to 30 years old, this is directed to you, and this is very good news for you because we want the youngins to get married, to have kids, to buy a house, to have their dreams become a reality. The more, anytime you build a company, like when we built the insurance company at the beginning, I told my guys, I said, listen, the previous company lost a lot of people. Why? Because the comp benefited the guys at the top. Once the comp benefited everybody and the newest guy can win, you'll continue winning. We have to make sure the comp benefits right now the newer people that are coming up as well, 18 to 29. And if we can do that, affordability can be fixed. I think midterms will be scored away. But if they don't figure this out by around July, August, it's going to be a very, very deadly midterms that they'll have. Adam.
Don't forget.
Yeah, well, this comes down to affordability. I applaud President Trump for making housing affordable. You know how I feel about buying a house and renting. Part of the reason that I've been such an advocate for not buying a house is this because it's been completely unaffordable. How could the average 25-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old buy a house when you're competing with BlackRock for that specific house? So I'm all for people getting married. I'm all for people getting a house, but not if it's going to drive you into debt. So to me, if you can't afford a house, stop complaining about it. Rent, save that money, invest in other appreciating assets.
Right.
Until then,
But-
stop complaining. And what's the definition of crazy? Doing the same thing over and
But it's
over
not
again
complaining,
until
Adam.
housing is affordable. It's almost irrelevant.
But it's
if
not
you want to buy a
affordable.
house,
But it's
you
not-
can't afford it.
You can't afford it, but it's not because of its market forces. It's falsely inflated market forces that are
Sure.
preventing it.
Whatever
So-
the reason is,
so-
you can't afford it.
No, but I'm saying is that there's
That's like saying, hey, I want to be on SNL. It's like, well, you're not funny.
well, there's an art.
Well, okay, you are funny,
but-
but you're not living in New York.
Let me
You're
hear
living in a
what
wrong
Rob
different.
has to
There's an
say. Give me a
artificial, but
second.
there's an
Let me hear.
but there's artificially saying that like the people auditioning for Saturday Night Live, we're not going to pick any of those people. We already pre-picked. That's the same thing BlackRock's doing now. Is that they're artificially raising the prices of homes and making it unaffordable, and they're buying too many and forcing people to become renters, so they can't even rent because they'll buy 30,000 homes. So what the president is doing is and it has to be done through codified through Congress, but he is going to limit. It has to be done in two ways: the ability to buy a massive amount, and they shouldn't be able to speculate on that. And so you have to. But the legislation is going to be critical. And Tom, you'll know that the legislation has to be critical so that it doesn't have loopholes in it that continue. So this isn't just something. It has to be able to help. And what's going to help right away is to take away any tax credits that BlackRock currently
point.
receives for buying homes.
Very good point.
So that has to be
So
done.
let me ask you one question, because I agree with you.
We got to wrap up.
If you want to
Adam.
buy a house, should you buy it before or after regulation sets place?
You have to buy it when you can afford it, and in any particular place. And
Bingo.
this regulation though should be able to stabilize the house prices, if not lower them. And we'll see. I mean, I'm hopeful, but
It's not going to happen overnight, though.
It's not
right.
going to happen overnight.
Vinny, his gear, faith over fear, tens of thousands of pieces sold out in a couple weeks. Tell us about faith over fear, Vinny.
Well, just letting everybody know, I appreciate everybody that's getting on board. I saw a guy at the airport that was wearing the faith over fear. I was at a diner and some guy patted me on the back and was like, hey, what is that all about? And he wanted to know what Hebrews 11 chapter 1 was, and we got into a really good conversation. And I know I always talk about faith over fear being like in the Bible with the centurion soldier whose kid was healed, where Jesus just said, go, because of your faith, it's going to be healed. And the woman that had the bleeding issue that pushed through the crowd, that just touched Jesus's hem of his clothing, and he was healed. So I want people to know that that's back in the biblical days. Faith over fear still applies today. It's it's with starting a business when the numbers scare you, speaking the truth when silence feels safer. Fear waits for comfort, and faith moves with conviction. You guys can go on there right now. We have a hat that's coming soon. I don't want to give it away, but you guys can go to, is it FLB?
VTmerch.com.
Oh, VT Merch. Go to VTmerch.com. Guys, we have hoodies, we have hats, Rocket, and let people know where you stand.
I love it. Go to VTmerch.com, place your order, buy it for yourself, your friends, your peers.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.